Coming right up, Straight Talk with Art Levine. Our show tonight, a conversation with Long Beach City Auditor Laura Dowd.
Opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Charter Communications nor its sponsors. We recognize our obligation to present opposing points of view by responsible spokespersons. For information, please contact the director of program.
She stands in the face of evil and will not lose hope or faith. America, the land of freedom, is still the home of the brave. So raise the banner, call Old Glory. Let us join our fellow man. History will write the story. America will always stand.
Straight Talk is brought to you in part by Southern California Edison. For over 100 years, life powered by Edison. The Press Telegram, your local news leader for over 100 years. And Long Beach Magazine. Coastal Living, City Style.
Join us for tonight's edition of Straight Talk. And now your host, Art Levine.
Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk. We're delighted you're joining us tonight. Our guest for the entire show is our Long Beach City Auditor, Laura Dowd. Laura, welcome back to Straight Talk.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
I think it's your fifth or sixth visit here. Laura was elected in 2006 and re-elected without opposition this past April. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's really been wonderful. I think the first time I was here, Art, in 2006 with you, I had no idea how much I would love the position that I hold now. It's just been extraordinary, and I've really, truly enjoyed serving the city as a city auditor.
Well, I think the city appreciates your service, and when you run for a citywide office without opposition, that says something about the job you've been doing.
Well, thank you. As you know, it's a wonderful city, and it's really a pleasure to be able to serve and work hard for something that you truly care about and you want the best for. And the work has been extremely interesting. Had the pleasure of working with an extraordinary staff. This is a wonderful city with a lot of serious challenges facing us.
Yeah.
But it's very rewarding to work for something that you feel like you can make a difference and feel like to help the community. So it's been good.
I'm struck by some of the comments you've made in your bio that you view your office as a watchdog of the city's treasury, and you take it as your personal responsibility to see that citizens have their city running effectively and efficiently, and you also view your office as a check and balance on government.
That's right. Having the elected city auditor is really a wonderful thing for our city, to have that independence, that we don't report to the mayor. The city auditor does not report to the city council or the city manager, but the city auditor reports to the public. We're independent, and that's just great. And
we are one of the few cities in the state that have a independently elected city auditor. I think it's a very good thing.
Thank you. And one of our main roles, as you did mention there, is to check and balance on the taxpayers' dollars, to make sure that their dollars are being spent appropriately and wisely and for the best benefit of the public. So.
Let me put in a plug for our wonderful Straight Talk magazine, and on the cover of the November-December issue, we have an article about our city auditor, Laura Dowd. Well, Laura, let's look at some of the accomplishments of your first term, a number of audits that you have accomplished. First, the police department audit, which was, in a sense, also a management audit, not just a financial audit.
Yes, that's right. We came up with several recommendations we felt that can improve the police department. One, at the time, their overtime costs were sky high, and we looked to find ways that we could reduce some of that overtime. As you know, the general fund was under enormous stress and burden. We looked at the general fund and found out the police department is 50% of the general fund. So we looked at ways that we could find efficiencies and some cost savings without jeopardizing any public safety. And one is we found their overtime was really high, and through one recommendation that we made was regarding deployment, rather than continually call back officers. Well, there's minimum staffing requirements, as you know, throughout the police department. So when the minimum staffing requirements had not been met, the police department would call back officers to work. When you would have to pay them overtime if they had already paid, work their normal. So we had a recommendation that shifted the deployment from those divisions of the police department that had already met their minimum staffing or had excess, to shift those working their regular time over to the division that was understaffed.
You
don't have to call
overtime.
Right, so you don't have to call back officers, just do some shifting around. And they were very open to that. They implemented that, and the first year that they implemented that recommendation from our office, their overtime decreased by $4 million.
Beautiful.
Which was a big deal. And just it touched on maybe two more recommendations. One was the civilianization. We recommended taking officers from behind desks doing administrative functions to patrol.
Sure.
And the mayor talked about in his campaign when he ran for office that he was trying to increase the number of officers in our police force. And we found that instead of hiring more officers, a more cost-efficient way would be to shift officers working behind desks out to patrol, and then backfill it with civilians. And it's cheaper to hire civilians than police officers. So that was one recommendation. They also wholeheartedly
So they really worked with you.
They really
and
did.
were receptive to these recommendations.
Very much so. Very open.
Right.
And I was, I had some trepidation when I first started the audit with the police department. It's a different culture, as you know, and I was a new auditor, and so
who's this gal coming in and telling us how to run our business?
Right, exactly.
Would be the concern that, but they were very open to it.
They were, and it took some time, a little bit, to establish some trust.
Yes.
That we were doing things for the benefit of the city, but they were open. They did implement them, and then the final one is we found that there were the under parking enforcement.
I love this one, the booting. It makes such sense. If someone's had 5 violations and they haven't paid, boot the car, and they'll come in and pay, and others will get the message.
Yes, that's right, exactly. And we found there were about $12 million of unpaid outstanding parking tickets.
Wow.
So why weren't they collecting them? And it got out of hand. And so the city, our city had not implemented a booting program that many other cities had. And so our recommendation to the council, which they implemented a pilot program for booting cars that had more than 5.
Well, that's millions of dollars to the city collectively by just working smarter.
That's right, and we can't afford to leave money on the table.
We
have to be aggressive and go after that money. And
very quickly, you also completed two audits of the Long Beach Museum of Art, one an inventory and one a financial audit. You did a towing audit, and you very wisely did an audit of the oil production tax and recommended an increase in the extraction fee, and that resulted in $3.5 million more of money for our police and fire, which is found money, really.
Yes, that was really an extraordinary effort for the oil production tax. We found that the city was collecting the lowest amount of tax, when we did a comparison of other cities, 15 cents. It hadn't been increased in over 16 years.
That's really leaving money on the table.
It really is. And there was nothing in the ordinance to account for any cost of living increase or indexing or anything. So this had been stagnant for a long time. And in 2006, the price of oil from 1990 to 2006, 1990 was when the ordinance was first established for a 15-cent tax.
Price
on oil.
was low then.
Yes.
Then it went up.
Right. It just about tripled, right? The price of oil about tripled. And so, by going after this, it was a great effort, and it has brought in $3.5 million.
We are going to take a pause for these commercial messages, but we also wanted to mention that you won 2 prestigious national awards for these audits, so congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.